prays, he fasts, he asks questions. He wants to know about his deen, his religion, and wants to pass it on to his children because he's at an age where he's looking to get married now. What I'm trying to say, my brothers, is these programs are the future. They are what bring about the future. So invest in the future of this community. However much it may be, $100 goes a long way. $20 goes a long way. Hatta $5 goes a long way. If I was to count everyone here, just everyone here in attendance today, if I was to estimate, I would say maybe قديش 200, 200 people here between the brothers and the sisters. طيب. $5 from each and every one of us, that's $1,000. $1,000, my brothers and sisters, keeps the lights on. We're not pocketing it, yani. No one's taking your money. Wallah, it's going back into these programs. And I believe, times are tough, but I believe each and every one of us can put something aside. Because I think a coffee in Starbucks now is like $8. I'm sure we buy Starbucks, yeah. طبعا بالعراق it's a quarter, but here it's $8. I'm sure we're able to pay $5 to support our community and invest in our future. Jazakumullah. Alf khair. And whatever you give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see. And طبعا it doesn't have to be cash. I'm sure there are ways for you to pay with whatever other method that you want to pay with, inshallah. طبعا not pay. The word pay comes with baggage. Support and donate, inshallah ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا حبيب الله. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله ولأمير المؤمنين والحسن والحسين. السلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته ومغفرته ورضوانه. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام على أبي الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. For the love of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A few nights ago, we spoke about how Islam has drawn up a method, a framework that allows it to be one with the times and allows our scholars to derive ahkam, rulings on new issues. Where Islam, as simple as it may be, but is very intricate in the way that it is able to keep up with the times and able to give us ahkam and rulings for things that did not exist at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. An application to that lecture, my brothers and sisters, and some of the points that we discussed then is the issue of AI, artificial intelligence, where human beings have come to a point where they figured out how to tap into the mind of a computer, let's say, and allow this computer to think like us, to analyze like us, but not on the normal processing speeds of the human being, rather at lightning speeds, and give us answers before we even finish the question. And the ability of these computers, these different programs, is so vast that we probably haven't tapped into the full capabilities of these programs. And so we find that adults and even children alike are using these programs for their different needs. They use them at school. They use them in social gatherings. They may use them to answer some of the most simple, rudimentary questions. Why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? And sometimes they may be used to answer some of the most paradoxical questions. Why does God exist? How do we know that God exists? What's the meaning of life? Our brothers and sisters in our communities also have turned to AI for their religious needs and started to turn to AI to answer their religious questions. Is it halal to go over the speed limit? Is it haram to eat at, مثلا, this restaurant that gets their meat from this place? Right? Some of these questions are intricate. Some of them are very simple. To the point where some of our brothers have said, we don't need scholars anymore. I take up my phone, chat GPT, what's the answer? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier than to call up Ahmad Bazzi in Iraq and wake him up in the middle of the night. And so some have said, there's no need for scholars anymore. We have the scholar right at our fingertips. And not a phone call away anymore. The middle of the night. Question, answer. Khalas. Tonight, my brothers and sisters, I want to challenge this approach. And I want to ask a question. Will AI replace scholars? And I want to take it a step further and open your horizons a little bit. Open them together. Will AI replace maraja'? As in, AI is able to derive the law. Yani the AI is able to bring the riwayah, explain the riwayah, and tell you this is the ruling. So it's doing the job of the marja'. Will AI be able to replace our grand scholars or no? Tonight we want to answer this question in light of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, who was the representative of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, the appointed representative of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. We want to answer this question, inshaAllah, and hopefully arrive at a different way of looking at AI and a different way of looking at our scholars. InshaAllah ta'ala, we will begin with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before anything, we must answer the first question, the basic question. Is using AI in general halal or haram? Just the general question. And here we apply what we took before, or what we understood in the last lectures that we spoke about. And that is, on situations where there are no narrations, طبعا, there's no Quranic verses, no narrations from Rasulullah, from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, no general rules that we can find within the narrations that apply to this new matter in question, we go back to al-usul al-amaliyah, which are general rules that say, in times where there's no narrations, there's no verses, there's nothing in the books that can point you into the right direction, then apply the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam when he said, رُفِعَ عَنْ أُمَّتِ مَا لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. What my nation does not know has been lifted off of their shoulders. And so the default hukum is halal. Yes, that comes with an exception. And that is, so as long as this tool that's between your hands is not used in haram itself. Just as long as this tool is not being used for haram, then in itself it's halal to use it. This is a direct application to what we spoke about. And that's why our muraja today, they said that using AI just as a tool is not a problem. It's no different than going to a book in the library and opening it and finding the answer. Whatever the question may be, whatever the issue may be. It's no different than using a tool to arrive at the answer to the question that you have. The only difference is that this is a digital mind that's thinking for you. The book is something that you have to strive for, open it, and find the answer within the book. And so there is no difference here between the book and the library and the computer. Latif. So when we come to this issue, our maraja can say are in consensus that using AI, using artificial intelligence as a tool is not a problem. So as long as it's not being used in haram. And so we say, بالعنوان الأولي, no problem. In itself, no issue. عنوان ثانوي, secondary uses where it could be used for haram, that's where it becomes a problem. Now the second question. Will it replace our maraji'? Will we get to a time where we don't have to see what our maraji' and Najaf and Qum are saying? I can pull it up on my phone, get the riwayah, and ultimately scroll down to the bottom. I don't have to read everything. Scroll down to the bottom and see. Yes, this is halal. And do taqleed essentially for AI. Follow AI. Some will come and say, yes. Why? Let me explain why. They say that our maraji', what is their role? The scholar, what's his role? His role is to look in the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Before it, طبعا, look into the Quran, the ayat, and also use the fundamental tools of the intellect and arrive at a conclusion. What's this conclusion? That something is halal or something is haram. The sources that he's using are one. From the time of Sheikh al-Tusi up until today, so about 1,000 years. The books of riwayat are the books of riwayat. Maybe some discoveries of old manuscripts here and there, but realistically, it's all one. It's right there in front of you. Read the riwayat, bring the riwayat together and find a conclusion. Derive the ahkam from the riwayat. And so what I can do is I can download these books to an AI. And the AI can look through the books and arrive at a conclusion. No different than anything else. And so AI can play the role of the scholar by deriving the hukm al-shara'i. Sheikh? AI can play the role of the scholar by deriving the hukm al-shara'i with this method. The other side says, no, you have misunderstood what our maraji' do. You have misunderstood what our grand scholars and experts do. How? Why? Number one, our scholars, my brothers and sisters, they play two very important roles. Some people think our scholars just play the role of the person researching all day and sitting at home and doing nothing. Our scholars play two very important roles. The first one is the role of istinbat, to derive the ahkam. Yes, and we'll get there. The second role is to take on matters, undertake matters, social issues, issues within the nation, within the Shias that come up here and there, that if left unchecked and not taken up, not responded to, left alone, chaos ensues within the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do we mean? Like what? Like the khumus that we pay. The 20% of our yearly profits that we pay. This money is for the Imam alayhi salam. Sahib al-Asri wa zaman. At least half of it goes to Sahib al-Asri wa zaman. It's his own money that he disperses as he sees fit. Sahib al-Asr alayhi salam is not here. He's in occultation. And so the money that I have in my hand, who am I to give it to? I can bury it, as some used to do. Bury it. And then after a while, khalas, it's all gone. There's nothing left. Or I can give it to the scholar that understands ahkam Ali Muhammad and understands what are the things that Sahib al-Asri wa zaman wants this money to be spent on. Like what? Like building mosques, building schools, building hospitals, investing in the future of our youth so that from our youth come ulama, investing in the hawzat and other means as well, giving to the poor. We know for a fact that Sahib al-Asri wa zaman alayhi salam loves when his money is spent on these different issues, on these different things. And so the scholar, because he has that knowledge, is able to disperse the money in these different avenues. If it wasn't for the scholar taking on this role, we'd be burying our money and then the next day the squirrel eats it. Khalasna, it's gone. Chaos. Chaos. In cases where if the scholar does not get involved, the children in a household may be in danger. May be in danger. In certain cases, the scholar may say, we are allowed to get involved and take this child out of that state of danger. In cases where we have a child who's an orphan, both parents, wal-'iyadh billah, died in a car crash. Let's say. There's no one to take care of this child. Who do I give this child to take care of? If the scholar doesn't get involved, what's going to happen to this child? The scholar not only derives the ahkam, my brothers and sisters, but plays a role as the caretaker of society, of the nation. At the very least, plays a role in keeping the peace, in keeping the community, the Shia of Al Muhammad, organized and not chaotic and not in disarray. That's number one. Number two, the scholar takes on the role of a judge as well. Yani we call in Hawza, the mujtahid is called al-hakim al-shar'i, where he's the judge, qadi. On certain matters, if he gives a fatwa and says, this is my judgment on the matter in question, it is wajib on the two sides to accept this ruling as correct and go with it. Even if one of them knows that this person actually took my money, for example, doesn't have a proof, if the judge comes and says, khalas, there's no proof, each go your separate ways. In that case, even the person that doesn't have his money has to say, no problem. If I can get proof, then I can come forward once again. If not, then I have to accept the situation at B as it is, and I can't come forward and sue this person once again. To that degree, where if the judge decrees, because there's no sufficient evidence, khalas, it's done. At that moment in time, it's finished. More than this, In certain situations, things in the Sharia are left to the judge to decide what to do. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone was brought in front of al-Hakim al-Shar'i, the mujtahid, the scholar. This person was using immoral tactics in business, was using fraudulent methods in business. And it was proven that he was using fraudulent methods, or he himself, he said, yes, I'm guilty of doing this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is what I used to do. It's said that the scholar in cases such as this can give him jail time, make him pay a fine, and even close his shop. Because the punishment in such cases is at the discretion of the scholar. So the role of the scholar, my brothers and sisters, is not merely just to derive the ahkam. Something like this, my brothers and sisters, takes the human element. There's a human element at play. And that discretion, my brothers and sisters, is given to the scholar who's a human, not the scholar that at his core is a computer. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's number one. Number two, you can say, okay, no problem. But at the very least, maybe we can follow what the computer says, what AI says, in terms of what it derives as ahkam, as hukum shar'i. We say absolutely not. Why? Because when the scholar derives a hukum, gives me the hukum shar'i, says something is halal, something is haram, he is using his intellect to arrive at the hukum shar'i. But a lot of the times it's not very straightforward. It's not very straightforward. There's a lot of branching off. There's a lot of different opinions and conflicting ideas that come to play. And so the scholar must look at all of these different opinions, weigh them out, and what he is confident is the correct hukm al-shar'i in the matter in question, or that this riwayah has truly come from the Imam alayhi salam. That confidence that he has allows him to decree and say, on this matter in question, this is halal and this is haram. Yani, when presented with a narration, and I'll give you an example. When the marja is presented with a narration, قال الصادق عليه السلام صلاة الآيات تجب عند الكسوف أو عند الخسوف. The narration is exactly like this. Salatul ayat is wajib, mandatory, when there is an eclipse. Just that much, halat. 4 or 5 different words. طيب. He sees this narration in Al-Kafi, for example, one of the major books of hadith. And that narration has a sanad. It has a chain of narrators. طيب. If he looks at this riwayah, looks at the chain of narrators, finds other signs that point him into the direction to say that this narration has truly come from the Imam alayhi salam, and that confidence in his own heart is there, then he can say, absolutely, this riwayah is from the Imam, and give a verdict on that matter. That confidence, my brothers and sisters, on which the marja' gives a hukum shar'i is human confidence. Human confidence. The confidence that is brought about in the mind and the heart of a human being. As for the confidence of a computer, of artificial intelligence, who says that in front of Allah Ta'ala is proof? Ultimately, what we want is that when we stand in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, we have proof for why we did what we did. Why did you pray here like this and not like this here? Why did you do this and not this? Ultimately, that's all that we're doing. We're trying to find a means that when we stand in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and present to Him, Wallah, we did this, this, and this for this reason. That reason is acceptable. Who said computer's confidence? The confidence of a computer is a proof in the eyes of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The onus is on that person to come forward and say that this is hujjah, a proof in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The confidence in the mind of the computer itself. Confidence in the mind of the scholar is proof Absolutely. Ahlul Khibra. He's the expert in the matter in question. And so his confidence is enough for you to take that hukum shara'i. Who said the confidence within, let's say, the mind of artificial intelligence is acceptable? As proof in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The human element, when giving the hukm shara'i, when deriving the ahkam, is extremely important. Because ultimately, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi was speaking to human beings. Wasn't speaking to computers. The human element is extremely important, my brothers and sisters. And so there will never come a time, never will there come a time, where AI will replace the scholar, where AI will replace the marja. Now you come and tell me, that's the marja. What about the everyday scholar that we see? Will it come to a point where they replace him? I'll tell you even no. Why? Because the scholar that we have in our mosques, in our communities, plays a much, much grander role, bigger role than just giving you what's halal and what's haram, and coming on the pulpit and just giving a muhadara here and there. What happens behind the scenes, my brothers and sisters, is much, much more than what we see in front of our eyes. The different issues that he deals with on a daily basis in terms of social issues, divorce, marriage, conflicts within the community, looking at the community and asking himself, what does this community need, not what it desires? How can I take care of this community as a father figure to these people? We don't like to use the word flock and he's the shepherd. No, we're not animals. Father and son, the dynamic of father and son. This is what the scholar is. And that's why the riwayat, they speak of the scholar and they say, the scholar in our eyes holds such a high place. Why? For he was the caregiver to our orphans when we were not there. The orphans of Al-Muhammad. We are the orphans of Al-Muhammad. Our father is not with us now. Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman is the father of this nation. He's not with us now. And so we turn to the scholars, for they are the caregivers of that orphan until he finally meets his father, inshaAllah ta'ala. And that's why the riwayat say, if the alim dies, ثُلِمَ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ ثَلْمَ لَا يَسُدُّهَا شَيْءٍ. If the scholar dies, a break, a wound will be opened in the religion that will never be shut. Because this individual, this person, although someone else can come and try to do his role, but he himself had a place in the hearts of the people. He himself had a special effect on the people that someone else would try to do the same role would have a very, very hard time doing. At the very least, the people themselves have come accustomed to this person, where this person's word is the last word. And this person is the voice of reason to these people because they have come accustomed to him and accepting of him. Wallahu alam, this is one way that we can understand this riwayah. And the many, many other narrations that speak about the importance of the scholar, my brothers and sisters. Which brings something to light to my brothers and even some of my sisters, insha'Allah ta'ala. But more so to the brothers. If one of us has the azima, the strength, and the desire to go to Hawza, to be the scholar of the future for this community and the communities outside of Windsor, wherever we may be, then you should go. Rather, some scholars have made it wajib for the person who has the ability to go and study al-ahkam al-shar'iyya and become a scholar, wajib, shar'an, to go. Because there's a need. A grave need. Not because there's not enough speakers, not just because there's not enough lecturers. We want quality, not quantity. Quantity, wallahu al-alim. There's a lot of quantity. We want quality. Now, sahibna, he opens a book, he reads a couple words, he sits on the pulpit, he's a sheikh. La habibi. For someone to sit on the pulpit, at least 5 years of Hawza. Not reading a book every day or taking classes here and there and bit'attish. Hamza, leaving the world, leaving everything behind, sitting in the masajid that our grand scholars became grand scholars in, and learning what Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam taught our scholars before us, and they themselves presented to us today. If you have the ability to go to Hawza, go. You must go. Because the future of this ummah, I say the word ummah not lightly, nation, depends on it. We're at a crossroads, my brothers and sisters. I'll tell you this now. The world is changing before our eyes. We're at a crossroads today. Maybe 200-300 years ago where things are a little different. Things are not ever changing every single day. It's different. No. Now it's not like before. Today, we are under attack from every single corner. And we're not talking about physical attack. That's for others. No, our religion is under attack. Our religion is under attack. What we believe in is under attack. The Shia of Ahl Muhammad are under attack for their love by Muslims and non-Muslims alike. If we don't have scholars in the future to take on these roles, to sit on these pulpits, then know that your children or your children's children will not know anything from the religion except the names that you gave them. Ali and Muhammad, Hassan, Hussain, Yimkin. Maybe they'll know that there's something called Salat and Sawm. Yeah, my granddad used to do this thing called Salat. I'm not sure what it is. Hey, Al-Ad. It's funny, but that's the reality. That's where we're getting. Because there are families, second generation, third generation, where their kids don't know anything about who they are, their origins, their religion. They don't have nothing. It's not part of who they are. Partly because the family didn't bring them to the mosques. Partly because the families are not religious themselves. But partly because their communities have failed them in providing something that allows them to keep their identity and hold strong. You can be the provider of that identity to someone else. If you are able to go to Hawza, go. And ask for rizq, sustenance. How am I going to live? That's on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The riwayat say, Talibul ilm, the seeker of knowledge, their rizq comes to them. Their sustenance comes to them. Their livelihood comes to them. And as for everyone else, they have to strive and run after their livelihood. As for the scholar, no. Their sustenance comes to them. And trust in Allah. And I'm telling you from experience. Ya ikhwan. And those who know me know exactly what I'm talking about. And ask the other scholars before me that you see. They will all tell you the same. That we have felt this and we know this because we are living it. Our livelihoods truly come to us when we least expect it. When we least expect it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the door. He opens the door. Maybe there are struggles at some points. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the door early on or maybe later on. But ultimately, the livelihood of the scholar comes to them. So if you have the ability, go, my brothers and sisters. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And so you tell me that, Ahmad, you can't use AI for anything. Bil'akis. Use AI as a tool. But let AI point you in the right direction and make sure of the answer with the scholar. Hala, there are AI right now that are specifically designed to give you ahkam. And I know some of them, and I've even tried out some of them. I've tested them. Some of them are good. But even with that, once you give it a complicated question, ask it about the opinion of another scholar, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's still a lot of things that there's a lot of room for improvement. At the moment now, let AI point you in the right direction. So you can ask AI, what's my hukum in this case? Am I allowed to do this? It will say according, مثلا, to Sayyid Sistani, this is the hukum al-shari. But it will provide a link. Go to the link. Click the link. Don't just take it as khalas. Go to the link and see what it actually says in the link. If they're compatible, biha wa ni'mat. If they're not, which a lot of times it's not, I'm telling you, as from experience, a lot of the times it's not compatible. It's not right. Then you got the right answer. And even if there's no link, pick up the phone and call the scholar. Each and every one of us on their phones should have the scholar on speed dial. Whether it's the sheikh here, khadimkun, anyone, Sheikh Imam, whoever it may be. And we're talking scholar, someone that actually studied. أي واحد بيلف عمامه. But not everyone is a scholar. Scholar, on speed dial, call him. Call him, he has no problem, he'll answer you. In the middle of the night, he'll answer you. We've tried it and it's been done. Have the scholar on speed dial. Have AI point you in the right direction. But make sure of the answer with a learned individual. That's the point of tonight's lecture, my brothers and sisters. A lot of it was theoretical, but this is the practical side. Take this with you. Take this with you. Make sure of the answer with the scholar. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in the system of Sahib al-Asr, alayhi salam. Underneath him are his appointed representatives, and underneath them are the scholars, the mujtahideen, the maraja', and underneath them are the little foot soldiers. That give you the halal and haram according to this marja and according to that marja. That's our role. That's our role. Naam. And this system was understood by our Imams alayhimus salam, implemented by them and applied by them. And that's why Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam is very special. A lot of us don't know that Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was a representative of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. What does a representative mean? An appointed representative. Abu Abdullah appointed him as a representative of him. And so in the same way that Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam must be obeyed, mafrood al-ta'ah, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, after that appointment, it was wajib on those that were underneath him to obey him. Allahu Akbar. Look at the trust that Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam had in Abu al-Fadl, where he was giving him that much authority. And that's why Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam is special. Just the fact that Abu Abdullah appointed him out of everyone else tells you all that you need to know about his, number one, religion, deen, about his obedience to Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, his level in the eyes of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, and lastly, his ilm, his knowledge. Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, عَمُّنَا الْعَبَّاسِ كَانَ نَافِذَ الْبَصِيرَةِ. Our uncle Al-Abbas had precise insight, pristine insight, knowledge, alim, scholar, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Not just the guy with the sword, 8 foot tall. There's more than that. There's more than this. Was Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. Truly the backbone of Abu Abdullah. Truly the backbone of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam's movement and army. Naam. And that's why when Abu Abdullah heard the scream of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, he said, my back broke. Truly his back broke in that moment. His most trusted confidant fell on the plains of Karbala. And after that, Imam al-Hussain, khalas, he said, now is my time. That's it. Abu al-Fadl is gone, it's my time to go. As long as Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas is there, there's still hope. There's still a means. There's still a way. When Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas is gone, khalas. That's it. It's on me now to fight for this family and to defend the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Naam. It's now time for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam to make his final stand of obedience to his master Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. The narration says, Al-Abbas alayhi salam heard the wailing of the women and the screaming of the children. They were screaming, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Abu al-Fadl came to Abu Abdullah and asked permission to fight. As long as Al-Abbas was with the Imam, the women were at peace, their souls at ease. They know the protector is still alive. The enemies were scared of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. The Imam looked at his brother and said, أخي أنت صاحب لوائي, you are the bearer of my flag. Abu al-Fadl says to him, I'm sick and tired of these hypocrites. I want to exact my revenge on them. Aba Abdullah al-Hussain turned to him and said, if you are to go get water for the children, give them something to drink. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas went to the people and advised them, spoke to them, reminded them of the truth, warned them from the anger of Allah, but there was no use. Al-Abbas shouted, Ya Umar ibn Sa'd, this is Hussain, the son of the daughter of the Prophet. You have killed the members of his family and all of his companions. All what is left is the women and the children who are thirsty. Quench their thirst with water. Their insides are burning from thirst. Shimr screams, O son of Abi Turab, if the earth was filled with water and the water was under our control, we wouldn't give you a drop of water until you pay allegiance to Yazid. Abbas turned and told them. Al-Abbas returned and told the Imam of what happened. He heard the children screaming from their thirst, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Abu al-Fadl couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't stand hearing the voices of the children. It's time to go get water for the children. It said that Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas went down to the battlefield. He stood in front of the enemies. In his eyes, in the eyes of Abu al-Fadl, in the eyes of Abu al-Fadl, there was 1,000 men waiting to feel the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All they saw was one man, but that man was the angel of death. Al-Abbas alayhi salam stood in front of them and waged an attack on them, killing them and dispersing them. Ali ibn Abi Talib returned to the plains of Karbala on that day in the form of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Men would run from Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas like the sheep would run away from the wolf. It said he stood on a hill. He turned towards Najaf and screamed, Ya Aba ya Ali, أبا يا علي أبا يا علي هذا اليوم الذي ادخرتني له هل وفيت للسيف حقا. This is the day you saved me for, Ya Ali. Have I given the sword its right? Al-Imam al-Hussain heard Al-Abbas. His heart broke for him, so he came to Abu al-Fadl. He grabbed his hand and brought him back to the camp. As they were walking back, Sayyidah Zainab sees them both coming, and Imam al-Hussain was holding the hand of Abu al-Fadl, bringing him back from the battlefield. Sayyidah Zainab and Kulthum saying to each other, when they come back, we will hold on to both of them and won't let them go anymore. When they came inside the tent, Sayyidah Zainab held on to Imam al-Hussain. Kulthum held on to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and sat him down. Each sister held on to her brother. All of a sudden a man from the enemies called out, Ya Hussain, Ya Abbas, أجبنتما وجلستما بقرب النساء. Oh Hussain, oh Abbas, have you become cowards and decided to sit with the women? At this point Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas stood. Kulthum wanted to hold him down. Imam al-Hussain looked at her and shouted, أخي أخي دعي فقد اشتاق الحبيب إلى حبيبه. Sister, leave him, leave him. For those that are waiting for him or longing for him, it's time for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to go. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas rose his horse. He took a skin container to fill it with water. 4,000 soldiers surrounded him and started shooting him with arrows. Al-Abbas wasn't afraid of their number. He attacked the men, and it was Siffin all over again. It was Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, but they felt it was an entire army. After splitting the army, Al-Abbas reached the Euphrates River. He came down from his horse and walked into the water. Being in the water, he saw how it sparkled. He picked up the water in his hands to drink. But remember the thirsty ones in the camp. Remembered the thirst of Imam al-Hussain, the thirst of the children. He remembered Sukaina was still waiting there for him with water. And Abdullah al-Radi' was burning on the inside from thirst. He threw the water down, saying, Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Hussain huni wa ba'dahu la kunti an takuni hadha Husainun waridul manuni wa tashrabi بارد المعين تالله ما هذا فعال ديني. O soul, after Hussein you have no worth. May you not live after him, O soul. Hussein is approaching his death and you want to drink the cold flowing water. By Allah, this is not part of my religion. He doesn't drink the water. He fills the skin container. He gets back on his horse and begins returning to the camp. Many soldiers tried to stand in front of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, preventing him from reaching the camp. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas attacked them and killed many of them. He pushed them away and destroyed their blockade, saying, لا أرهب الموت إذا الموت زقا حتى أوارى في المسالي انطلقه نفسي لصبط المصطفى المطهر وقاه إني أنا العباس أغدو بالسقا ولا أخاف الشر يوم الملتقى. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas then took a path through the palm trees. Ajarakumullah. As Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was walking through the palm trees, a man by the name of Zayd ibn Ruqad al-Jinani hid behind one of the palm trees, while Hakim ibn Tufail was helping him behind another. They were waiting for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to come by the palm trees. We all know what's going to happen, my brothers, eh? As al-Abbas rid by the first tree on his right, the man saw the arm of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas shining as if it was calling him. He gripped his sword, raised his blade, and came out from behind the tree and severed the right hand of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. When Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas felt his arm fall, he said, Wallahi in qata'tum yamini inni uhami abadan an dini wa an imamin sadiq al-yaqini najl al-nabi al-tahir al-amini. By Allah, if you cut my right hand, I will be certainly continuing defending this religion and an imam with true certainty, the pure son, the trustworthy son of Rasulullah. Al-Abbas grabbed his sword with the left hand, continued his way. His only worry was to get the water to the family. Allahu Akbar. Hakim ibn al-Tufayl hid behind the other palm tree. When Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas came beside his tree, Al-Hakim raised his sword and aimed for the hands of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and severed the left hand of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. When he felt the burn in his arm, he claimed, Ya nafsi, Ya nafsu la takhshay min al-kuffari wa abshirin bi rahmatil jabbari. مع النبي المصطفى المختار قد قطعوا ببغيهم يساري. O soul, don't fear the wicked and have glad tidings for reaching the mercy of Allah. They cut my left hand. Oh Allah, don't let them feel the heat. Let them feel the heat of the fire. His only worry now was to get the water to the family. He began rushing. Many soldiers gathered around Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He has no way to defend himself now. Umar ibn Sa'd saw him rushing and called out, ويلكم ارشقوا القبر بالنابل فوالله لو وصل شيء من هذا المال إلى الحسين لأفناكم عن آخركم. Throw the waters at the container, throw the arrows at the container, for if a drop of water reaches Hussain, none of you will still alive. Arrows were reaching Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, coming to him from every direction like raindrops. An arrow pierced through the skin container. Al-Abbas now stopped. He was confused. All of a sudden, an arrow pierced Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas's chest. Another pierced his right eye. The blood of the right eye covered the left eye. No hands to protect him. No water for the children. An arrow piercing his chest and another in his eye, and no more water for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. A man came from behind Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Ajarakumullah. He raised an iron pole and struck Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas on his head. He fell screaming, Alayka minni salam, Ya Abu Abdullah. Adrikni ya akhi. Oh my brother, come to my aid. The first time he says akhi, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, when he heard the call of Abu al-Fadl, he put his hand on his back and said, Al-an ankasara dhahri, Al-an qillat hilati, Al-an shamita bi aduwi. My back is broken. I see no way out. And the enemy is rejoicing at my misfortune. The Imam comes to Abu al-Fadl. He's riding to Abu al-Fadl until all of a sudden he comes down. He picks up something from the ground. It's the right hand of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He rides a little further. He comes down. He picks up something. It's the left hand of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Until he got to his brother. How did he see him? No hands, no eyes, no water on the ground. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas's head is into Allahu Akbar. When Abu Abdullah approached his brother, Abu al-Fadl didn't know who it was. He didn't know it was Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. So he said to him, oh, you who's there? Just give me some time. Let me see my brother, Abu Abdullah. Just give me some time. You want to kill me? Kill me. But let me see my brother for the last time. The Imam cried and said, I'm your brother, Ya Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. The Imam sat by his brother's side. He put Al-Abbas's head in his lap. Feeling this, he moved his head. The Imam put his head on his lap a second time. Once again, he put his head on the sands. For a third time, Abu al-Fadl removed his head and put it on the sands. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam says to him, Brother Abbas, why do I see you doing this? Why is it that I put your head in my lap and you move your head and put it on the sand. So Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas says to him, brother, brother, أخي يا نور عيني كيف لا أصنع هكذا وأنت الآن جئتني وأخذت برأسي ولكن بعد ساعة من يرفع رأسك عن التراب ومن يمسح التراب عن وجهك. How can I not do this, Ya Aba Abdullah? Now you've taken my head, put it in your lap. You wiped the sand off my face, the blood off my eyes. But after a while, who's going to be raising your head, Ya Aba Abdullah? Who's going to wipe the sand off your face, Ya Aba Abdullah? Imam al-Hussain bent down to carry Abu al-Fadl. Abu al-Fadl opened his eye, his one eye that's left. He looked at Abu Abdullah wanting to carry him. He said, where do you want to take me, my brother? The Imam said, back to the camp. Ya Abu al-Fadl. Al-Abbas said to him, brother, by the right of your grandfather Rasulullah, don't carry me back, leave me where I am. The Imam asked why. He replied, there are two reasons. The first reason is that death has come to me and there's no use. And the second is that I promised Sukaina water, and I'm embarrassed that I don't have the water for Sukaina. The Imam alayhi salam left his brother where he was and returned back alone to the camp. He stood in his camp after Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and screamed, أَمَا مِن مُغِيثٍ يُغِيثُنَا أَمَا مِن مُجِيرٍ يُجِيرُنَا. Is there anyone who will help us? Is there anyone who will protect us? Is there anyone who will protect the progeny of Muhammad? لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. يا Allah, we ask you by Muhammad وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين, accept this majlis from us, Ya Allah. Accept our a'mal, Ya Allah. Forgive us for our sins, Ya Allah. Make us from those who follow in the footsteps of Ahlul Bayt. Make us from those who learn from Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, from Abi al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. Make us from those who understand why Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was the representative of Abi Abdullah, and follow in his footsteps in attaining knowledge. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Make us from the supporters of Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Let us recite the Surah al-Mubarakah al-Fatiha للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء ومراجعنا الكرام before it aloud. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Jazakumullah khairan, ikhwani tayyibin. Please help donate to these majalis. And inshallah, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam will stand with you on the day of judgment. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.